Hey everybody, it's Marty the JavaScript Party. I'm my buddy Rhett. We just got done with the Three.js video. It wasn't too bad. It was only like 20 minutes long, so that is cool. It's video 473 on that one. Man, I have never worked on a project where we were focused on you, where we had, we really took unit tests very seriously, where the project didn't just end up just becoming completely uh, bogged down. It's just kind of the standard that I've grown to learn to expect. And it's like I love it. I absolutely love the unit tests on this project. I've learned so much because of the unit tests, and this project is completely bogged down. So on a personal basis, I've definitely benefited dramatically, but on a actual like for the project, it's been terrible. It's been absolutely terrible. Um, I almost feel like if I was like in charge of a software development team, I might actually have like one project that is very unit that doesn't matter that much, that is very unit test driven. So like anytime that someone's waiting on a PR or something like that, we work on our like passion project, our team passion project that has got full unit test coverage and we argue about stuff and all that on that one. And then our real project, that's like where we take the lessons that we learned and apply them. But anyway, so now I'm working on um, the, I believe it's Say Hello. And one of the things that um, last week was happening was, I think it's voice, um, was that Edge was not working for me locally. Now let's see. Hello, how are you? Okay, so that was exactly what we experienced last week. And then we went over to Edge. And I don't, like I said, I don't really use Edge very much. I use it a lot more at work than I do at here at home, but it's mostly because at work, like a lot of the hyperlinks that are inside of different projects are Microsoft, and so they lead to Microsoft Edge. They just launch Microsoft Edge, even though my default browser is Chrome. Um, let's try this now. Hello, how are you? Hello, 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 hello. So yeah, hello, how are you? Now, what's wild about this is just absolutely crazy to me is that um, we like when I'm at work, if I'm on the VPN, I can use the voice works, but if I'm not on the VPN, the voice doesn't work. And I'm pretty sure it's because when I'm on the VPN, I'm in like an official government um, subnet, I think would be the word, but like a network that's a government network. And so Microsoft has that turned on. This is my guess, I don't know. But then when I'm off, when I'm not on the network, I'm on my personal and they have disabled that. And who knows, like that's a fun concept to see because it's like your yeah, see, I'm seeing network. Um, it's a fun concept to see because like you can make up all kinds of fun conspiracy theories about it. But the point is probably the most important point to take away from this is that this stuff is really unlikely to work over time. Um, there's just a million reasons why this will probably quit working in the future. Probably the biggest reason I could think of is in all likelihood this whole API will change in such a way that it's just no longer supported anymore. But like I mean, Microsoft can literally just push a button, and now this whole thing doesn't work on Edge at all. Um, so like I don't know, like I'm pretty sure that this cost money, right? Like the network is cut off, and it's probably because it was expensive. Just guess. It's just my guess. It was very expensive to open it up to the world, but there are still like things they would like to listen to, and one of those things is probably like state networks and stuff like that. So like If you're a very imaginative person, you can definitely think of a lot of conspiracies around that, but it's probably not conspiracy. It's probably just literally just price. It was just like, okay, it's very, very expensive to provide these services, and they probably have not figured out how to monetize it. Whereas Google, they're very, very good at monetizing things. So there's just a tremendous amount of data that can be collected from a voice interaction. Now, it's not so bad for this project because I think the way Google does this is really good for like say hello, like for very specific words because it doesn't do anything. But like the for the flashcard one, I was really hoping to use Edge because they they take care of they take care of punctuation and capitalization and stuff like that for you, but they don't. Um, let's see, open recent. But if it doesn't look like it's going to be super reliable, so I probably won't be able to use it, but I'll try. Because the thing about the flashcards is once I think I have momentum going and I'm making flashcards and all that, it'll probably be a lot easier just to go to like ChatGPT and just say, hey, here's my structure of my JSON. Can you please make me flashcards for um, whatever? And whatever. And it'll be able to generate it. And that'll be probably the easiest way to get the flashcards made. But it's a good way to get us started. So anyways, so let's CD, and I believe it's UI or something. Say hello UI. Okay, npm start. So I can't even remember what we were working on here. It says set up say hello voice API interface. I thought we already did that, and we do have a bunch of these, and I do keep a README, so that's right. So we have our little check mark. Yeah. Let's see. I think let's go here. And then this is README. README. And let's close others. Okay, are we up and running yet? So it looks like our next thing is so we looks like we set up our service, and this is it right here. Right on here. And so we have this service and it structure, region. We have these signals we're listening to. Oh, that's our routing service. This is our voice service. Okay, so we have our event handlers, which is a very like old school style where we create these event handlers and listen to them. This way, it's a really very effective way that a lot of really impressive stuff was done this way, but we've sort of moved away from this. But this is like a older API, so um, it's an older API that looks like it is probably on the verge of being abandoned, I think. It's probably only going to be, oh, we already do have our button. It probably is abandoned. It's probably only going to be abandoned, not because it's a bad API, but, well, I don't think it does everything that would have been nice for it to do. Um, and then B, I think it tried to do too much. Like it tried to create like the same structure and standard for continuous and for uh, discrete. So continuous is like for it to just listen nonstop. So you're talking, and it's kind of like the way like Alexa works and stuff like that, where it's just always listening, and then when you say something, it responds. Discrete is like you push a button, it waits for something, and then it shuts itself down. Um, so so I think that those two structures are just different, and you can kind of see like in these logs how the structures work. Um, but they're different, and they probably should have been unique. Um, but who knows? And then, like I said, probably, but more than anything, just this style of setting up event handlers and stuff like that probably won't probably does not feel very comfortable to like new developers and stuff coming in. This is sort of a very old school way of doing it. Um, so so that's that. All right. So now we wanted to create a start record. So it looks like that is done, but I guess maybe what was I saying here? Set up a button to start. Okay. So I think this is a bit of a this is the time. This is the time probably to get Angular material installed if it isn't already installed. It may already be installed. Kind of looks like it's already installed, but you can never be sure until you look in the package file. So what we're looking for is, yeah, so this Angular CDK, which is absolutely bizarre, is part of Angular material. And then, I mean, it's just like you would think this CDK would be part of Angular, not Angular material. Um, so that's kind of confusing. Um, and then Angular material is there. So we have Angular 21. Uh, so we want to use a material button. So, and I can never remember how to do this off the top of my head. Once I have one, it's like not so bad to try to remember, but let's go ahead and go. Well, I don't know. Actually, maybe this isn't the time. Okay, so we added the button here. Maybe this is the time to build out a new component that will handle the button. Yeah, this is probably that time too. So now we're two layers of abstraction away from our main goal, which is to create a button that listens and then um, enables it, and then move on to the next step, which would be to something that will listen for the word hello. I think that's what why step 2 is. Um, yeah, so we're going to set up some default string, then listen for hello, and then blah, 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 blah. But the thing is set up button to start is like, okay, I have a button for start. Wait, we want the button to look better than that, right? Well, yeah, so we need an Angular material button. But wait, we really don't want, like, the button has a very specific job. It can be isolated so that so that um, it it doesn't end up with all of its logic just sort of mixed in with everything else. Like we want to keep everything as reasonable and all that as possible. Well, so now we need to create a new component, and that component would be our start button or our tools, or probably our tool, like a component that holds a start button and other buttons for, I don't even know what to do. So this is where ChatGPT, like, there's some things that ChatGPT is like really good at. There's some things that it's really bad at, and then there's some things that it's just like excels at. And one of the things is that it absolutely excels at is like coming up with words that describe some phenomenon. And so working on a browser / Angular project, and in my project I am I want to create a component, and the job of the component will be to hold buttons. Um, and I think there'll be more than one. Will be more than one, but I can only think of one. Think of one right now. and the one button will activate the microphone and will activate the microphone and um, uh, listen for the person to say hello. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. Actually, I guess it will. I guess it'll actually also provide like maybe no. I think the button to start should be sort of at the end and then selecting your username. I mean the language and the region is next. Um, would be the selecting the username and region would be like the next would be first would be like the very first thing, and then probably your results and then a button to start it. Um, I'm trying to think of a good name for the component. There we go. Chain user actions. Yeah, so that's exactly right. Like is Mike button. Now that definitely will feel wrong. Action panel probably safest. Control panel, action bar, interaction panel. Okay, so I think there'll be another one. Okay, so I think this one, this panel is a good word, will be at the bottom, but there will be other another action panel at the top that let will let the user select the language and the region. And okay, and I feel like it's very important for me to stop and say something right now. And that's that like building software for people to use is like not a very well defined process. I mean, like it just isn't. It's just like no one really knows exactly how to do it. We act like it gets done, right? So someone goes in, they do a bunch of work, and then it gets done, and you're like, oh, okay, we know how to build software, and then you could even observe people building software and be like, okay, let's document some of the things that need to be done. But no matter how well we document it, we'll never ever catch everything. And that's like I don't know what you would document this part. This part of trying to decide obsessing over what the name of this component should be. Like I don't know what you call that, but like and then I don't even know like how you would document when that happens, and it's clearly not a science orientated behavior. There's no science to this. This is a purely artistic, creative thing. I'm not saying that they don't do art, creativity, and science, but I'm just saying that science is about, creating a hypothesis and then testing your hypothesis and then creating a set of rules and stuff to operate on based on your observations and all that. This is not that way. This is like I'm not creating a hypothesis. I'm just like, okay, I need to create something and I needed the right words because if you put the wrong words in, then the whole thing gets awkward. If it all gets awkward, it is no fun to work on. And if it's no fun to work on, then what are we even doing here? I mean, let's just go do something else. Like go throw some frisbees around or something. Like there's way more fun things to do. So I don't know. I don't know exactly what has to be done to build software from end to end, but I do know that part of it is obsessing about the names of things. And I don't know, and I don't think that that is like one of those things where it just happens and then you're done. Um, you have to continually be doing that, I think. I don't know. But anyways, I think this panel will be at the bottom. And there will be another action panel at the top. And it will let users select language and region. So, I definitely want to come up with a name that distinguishes my um my like start stop type of actions from my, I guess, setup type actions. I guess that's what like the top ones will be about like setting yourself up. Uh, and then my bottom ones will be more like about like interacting with the application. Um, and like I said, I don't know when this happens, right? Like this happens a lot, and like the who and all that is, it's really bizarre because what happens is like you have like people at one part of the structure. Generally, they have like a VP of like marketing or sales or something like that, and then there's like a product manager, and they kind of have like meetings where they have ideas on what they want to build and all that, but they don't actually at all understand what is like possible and not possible because that's not what they do, right? And then they talk usually to somebody like a business analyst or something like that. Someone from the coding set, but they don't normally talk to the coder. They will normally talk to a manager or something like that. And then they will sort of say, hey, this is what we'd like. And then these guys talk and they kind of go back and forth. And then after that process it goes to the developer. And then like sometimes when it gets to the developer's like, yeah, that doesn't even make sense. Like that's not even feasible what you're asking for. Or they may be like, well, okay, but there's these other things and all that. And then like if there's a feedback loop like that, it kind of has to go through the whole thing again, and then it eventually gets back to the developer. And then some developers are just like they just get a reputation for absolutely rejecting everything that comes to them, saying it's not possible, whatever. And then there's other developers they get a reputation for being like totally compliant, but building out stuff that's just completely broken. And then there's other developers that are kind of in the middle. It's really tough. It's really a hard situation. And like I said, it's not particularly well documented, and it's not even particularly consistent across different domains. So like the way it might work in a finance environment might be totally different than the way it might work in a legislation environment, which might be totally different than the way it works like in a pizza delivery domain. Like all these domains are different and they have different problems. Like if you're making a an app for helping you pick your favorite color, that's a little different than like something that's going to be controlling some valve on an airplane 30,000 feet in the air. It's just like it's different. Coding is not coding, and we haven't even really divided that stuff up in a very effective and understandable way. I'm in a very philosophical mood right now. Okay, if you name them on position, yeah. So we don't, yeah. I love it when it says if you name them based on position, top panel, bonnet panel, you'll regret it the second the layout changes. Yeah. Configuration, setup, and execution. Oh, yeah. I like that. Start, stop. Execution controls a better way. Uh, control panel, execute. Runtime controls. Ooh, I like that runtime controls. And honestly, like it should be fully. I think it only serves one master. and that's the developer. Like the at this, well, for me, I guess that's the thing is, I guess sometimes they do. Like you want your architect to be able to go talk to your product managers and all that, and then be able to explain things in a way, like show them code and make the product managers think, oh yeah, okay, I get it. Oh, I could code now. Like I've always said that bet the way you know you have a really good architect is when the product manager says, well, I'm basically an architect. If they say that, then you have an amazing architect because setting things up architecturally in a really reasonable way so that the product managers is just an absolute skill in and of itself. Now, what's really crazy is many times they can set up things so that it makes total sense and they explain things and it makes so much sense to the product manager and then it's like wrong, completely wrong. Like that's not how it works at all under the covers. And that can lead to some awkward situations, but it's not unusual at all. Um, and then like in really, really complex things that is typical. Like in aircraft, generally the way the requirements lay out how everything is exactly supposed to work does not map at all to the way the software actually does things. But at the end of the day, those have to be reconciled, right? The software is written, they build it however they need to build it so that it works perfectly the way they want it, and then you make sure that it passes the requirements. And then you make sure that the code does everything, and then like it's sort of an iterative back and forth thing, and that's really how things work in in uh, in aircraft because both things are just so complex and your requirements really do need to be able to match to like legal like something that can be sort of translate to law in a lawsuit or whatever. So that's that. But anyways, I like this runtime controls and then setup panel is probably, or configuration panel is probably even better. Settings panel is probably the best one. So that is so funny because over here I like the most technical one and then here I like the most natural one. But it didn't call that. I feel like runtime controls is the most natural. So I'm just going to ask it a weird question. Do you think I say there's like a 65% chance that ChatGPT is just absolutely piss me off with its answer, but I'm just a freaking um, runtime controls is the most natural. Actually, that no, I don't like runtime controls because it kind of implies that the other one is not a runtime, but they're both runtime. So I don't like runtime. Actually, I changed my mind on that. So I'm actually glad I was going to go to ask this question. Execution panel. Yeah, I like execution panel, I guess. Control panel is again a bit misleading because it kind of implies that the other panel isn't a control panel. Okay, so I'm leaving. Okay, so leaning. And I don't know why, but for some reason, if you name the first one of them runtime, to me, it sort of implies that the other one is not a runtime, but for some reason, execution to me does not imply that the other one's not an execution. Man, but I think execution. I think all three of them are very good. But I do think execution. Because see, the thing is if you have a panel with buttons in it, it's clearly execution. It can't not be. But I guess even a runtime, it could not be a runtime. Yeah, I think I like execution and configuration, but I'm not going to do configuration now, so who knows what we end up naming it when the time comes. But I'm going to create a new command in here for creating my execution panel, execution component, EXEC component. It would be so nice if they would have added a way to add comments in JSON. I mean, you kind of can because you can make an attribute that's like your comment, but and we know we do ng and that's going to run this version. And see, that's the other thing is in the future, if we wanted to rerun this under a new CLI because we upgraded, we could. We could just run it. We know how we ran it before. That this takes the running of and creating components out of being what they call ephemeral. I've tried to practice using that name, ephemeral, something that just comes and goes and there's no record of it, into being something that is recorded. Okay, so this goes into components, and then I think it's like execution panel. I think this is what I want. And I kind of don't like how whenever I create something like this, I like to have a nice clean Git commits, but we're kind of like in this beginning part, so it's kind of hard to do that. So anyway, so I'm going to come in here and I'm going to run my new function, my new script, npm run exec component. Yeah, I like that name. Okay, exe component. And what I'm expecting to see is a new folder to show up called, and I guess I should call it components. Yeah, so I'm expecting a new folder called components to show up, to just appear right as a sibling of enums and services. I'm not 100% sure that's going to happen, but that's what I expect to happen. npm. Oh, I need to be in the, what is it called? Say hello UI. And let's try that again. And just make sure it shows up the way I want it. Okay, I like that. That worked out really well. And then, yeah, I like all of this. And then, so I think it just comes up with like a default, yeah, execution panel works. So what we want to do is we have to come into our apps. So we're doing standalone. So if you're working on an older version of Angular, this is not how it works for you. Well, it's pretty old though. Like if you're working on anything before Angular 17, like we're at Angular 21 now, so it's been 4 versions. So for 2 years, it's been this where we had these standalone things. So, um, but we have this component, and I believe we need to import it in here. And I believe we say imports, and then we do this, and then we give it an array. Usually, if it's like um, plural, then you give it an array. That's just, I don't know if that's a fact, but that's how it's worded. And then what I typically do is I'll come into execution panel and I will do this. Boom, boom, boom. Dun, 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 dun. Green Giant. That used to be a very, very popular commercial when I was a little kid. I don't know if I've seen that commercial in like literally 20 years, but and so now it'll complain because it's like you never even used that, bro. Bruh, you didn't use that. Now we'll come over here and we'll go app execution panel. Party. And then we'll come over here to our app TS. I mean, not app TS. Okay. Why isn't that's so weird that app TS is not showing as yellow? Okay, I guess because it wasn't clicked. And so we want to do this. And this doesn't accept anything. It's very non-accepting. There we go. And now what we want to do is we want to take the click button stuff. We're just going to do this. I don't even think we need the voice service over here anymore. So we're going to just do this, right? Because no, I think we do need the voice service because the voice service is what tells. Yes, we need the voice service still because that's what determines the locale and yeah, the routing service is what tells us what the language and the region are because this is the truth. And then this takes this language and region and turns it into a locale. And there could at some point be, it could get complicated. It isn't right now. Right now, you just slide them together, but who knows? Who knows what the future holds for us on that? So we still need the services over here. I think this will get pulled into its own component too. Um, and then we won't need any of the services. Like literally all this will be just static content. And that is, I think, a very natural way for that to go. So anyways, let's come over here and let's go to our app.ts and let's go to our this function and we are going to put this in our execution panel.ts. And I like, okay, let's stop for 1 second and just say, and just think, okay, we are 2 layers of abstraction down. We are down into component creation and things like that. It's completely different than what we even started to do here. And that is the nature of software development. Right or wrong, that's how it works. And that is my whole point of doing all this stuff is to capture those things. Okay, so we want to go over here. Because I literally don't know a single developer who hasn't tried to teach other people how to code and just been like, yeah, I don't know why. It's really, really hard to teach people how to code. Okay, so that brought in that, and now we need this inject, and that comes in. That gets imported from core as well. So inject. And here we go. Now we have that there. And so we should be able to now just grab the HTML out of here. And I'm just going to delete. I'm just going to pull it out and hit save. And that's gone. And now I want to take what's in here, and just paste it. And there we go. We are back, and let's see if it still works. Yes, it still works. Hello, how are you? Hello, hello. I don't know if that worked, though. It may have worked, it may not have. It's hard to tell at this point. Looks, yeah, here we go. We got our result. And I think we said hello, hello. I think that's what I said. Hello, hello. I think that's what I said. Not 100% sure on that. Yep. Oh, I said hello, how are you? As you can see right in this transcript. And it's 97.88% sure that that's what I said. I think I have it set up to only get one thing back. I may want to change that in the future, but for now, that's how I want it. Just makes things a little easier. So anyway, so we have this, and that's good, and I'm happy with it, but it's hideous, right? Not only that, this whole thing is hideous. Um, Probably should be like a banner up top, but you know what? I'm not going to get. So that would be another layer of just full-blown design. This is a very, very good time to do a design sort of spike is what they would call it in Agile, but like just a design sort of effort at this point, just sort of. But because we are starting to get like ideas of how everything we want and the layout and all that, but we got to do what we got to do. So, anyways, we want to use Angular material for buttons. This is going to be the last thing I do today. So, and I always do it this way. I'm really happy with the way that works. First of all, the nice thing about this is a really good time to sort of validate what version of Angular material you're using. I believe it is it May that they it's every 6 months that they upgrade Angular to Angular, whatever the latest version of Angular is. And I've never really come up with a really good way of determining what the current value. Okay, version 21. So we're still on version. So I guess the next one is going to come out in October. I think it was March that the last one came out. Um, that they went from 20 to 21. Okay, so this finally came up. So 21.29 is the latest version of Angular material, and we are on 21.13. So we're a little bit behind, but it should be okay. We'll see. We'll find out. If it's not the end of the world. But we want buttons. So we come over here, and I don't know what, like I don't have this color scheme. I don't really know why, but I'm just gonna go with this, with whatever it gives me for now. Angular material really changes the way they work quite a bit from time to time. So, and just like the way things look and all, like, and that is to be expected. So, like they used to have like all these different colors and stuff that you could pick, and now it's just like you have to do this, and I don't quite get it, but I think we want an outlined button is what we want. So I think what you do is you typically do this, and what you do varies from uh from component to component. But so let's come over here. Well, I guess the very first thing you need to do is we need to bring in our button module. So it's map button module. This is normally how I'll do it. I'll just kind of come in here and get this name right here. And then I'll come down here, in here, right here, and I'll say I would like to import button. So this won't work for you if you haven't already installed Angular material. So like a lot of examples, like this is a perfect example where we bring in where we just do this and it just works. So it doesn't know how to bring that in, and I don't know why. I've always been very, very confused by that. Like why sometimes it'll pull in imports and it can find it, and sometimes it can't. And I don't think it has anything to do with Angular or Angular material. I think this is all about Visual Studio Code. So anyways, so now we found it. I don't know why we had to do that, but we had to. All right, so we have the button. Now let's just make sure that it loaded. In older versions of Angular, you may have to restart to get it to actually pick up the change or to actually show that something's broken. Seems very unhappy right now, though. I feel like something must be broken. No, it came in. That is kind of crazy, though. It's so wild how that lined up because it kind of looks like this button is part of that. So we have our button stuff imported. And so let's see if we can say these words in English. All right. Okay, so that was our TypeScript. Now we're going to try to look at I wonder what's going on in CSS. So they didn't do anything with colors or anything in their CSS, but they did do like spacing and stuff. Um, but this is the one I want, the outlined. Apparently it comes by default with a link. Okay, so I'm just gonna hit save and just see if it works. Okay, yeah, that's nice. And now what we want is I think we want our basic. So let's get rid of the other two. And then I don't want this button row, I don't think. And then since we got rid of that, we got rid of this. And I don't think we need this div. And we'll hit save again. And now let's see if we could just copy this over and go here. And then we want to say start. And now here's a really good one because I'm like looking at this going, well, I would kind of like the icon, like a little start microphone. Oh, let's see if it works first. Yep, it worked. It worked. It worked. It worked. 12 speech recognition result. Let's go to our results. And then let's go here. And it worked. It worked. It worked. Yay. All right. So I would say that we'll go here. And then boom. Then boom. And we go. And now we want to add, I guess we want to add a little microphone. So it's kind of funny because they showed us like the examples and then they're just like, um, um, and then I was just like, I don't want that. And now here I am. And I'm like, okay, I want that. Okay, so let's go here. Let's go see how this icon thing worked. So we need to bring in icons and then and it looks like it's kind of weird. Okay, so this is open in new. So I'm wanting to do something along this extended fab with the hearts. So go back to the HTML. And let's just take a look at this. So we've got our basic favorite. Okay. I guess favorite is a heart? Interesting. All right. So we just put it literally in here. Now it's not going to be happy because I did not I haven't imported the I haven't imported icons. So and it's not that you're importing the icon files, you're importing the icon library, like the icon functionality. And I don't know what it does, I really don't. But if I go like this, it's probably yeah, it's gonna be like I don't even know what you're talking about, bro. Rah. But now that it's already brought something in, you can usually just sort of guess in here. And oddly enough, for some reason, guessing seems to be a really useful like thing. Mat icon module. All right, so I got that one wrong. It looks like. I wonder if we can do it here. Let's try this. Import mat icon module, and then from dot at Angular, and then material dash material dash icon. There we go. Yeah, I don't know why it wasn't able to find it on its own. But here we go. Now we have our mat icon. I think we'll have like a little heart. So we have a little heart, but we want a microphone. So, and this is another thing that freaking like, so I imported Angular material icon, and I have this, which is a heart. But I would prefer a microphone. Mic. 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 And I will say that, man, when you work on this stuff, you're just sort of working on it by yourself, you're just kind of like, oh, that looks so nice. Um, you're just kind of like, who cares about the look and all that? But it's a way easier to get like those sorts of things working at this stage than it is later on. But B, and more importantly, you will care in the future, and you're sooner or later you're going to want to show this to somebody, and man, it's so nice when you use Angular material and everything just looks nice and everything, the tabs and buttons all work perfectly and all that. That's just such a nice thing. um I don't really like, I'm not the kind of person that really enjoys being under a lot of structure. And Angular material, if there's anything you can say about Angular material, it is highly structured and highly opinionated. And I generally don't like working in that kind of environment, but dang, is this stuff good. This stuff works so good. Anyways, let's just make sure it still works. Hello, hello, hello. Let's see what we got. Speech recognition alternative. Oh, why I didn't notice that before. But yeah, under transcript. That is so wild. It's a speech. I don't feel like I remember ever seeing speech recognition alternative. And I definitely didn't say Burks. So that's pretty cray. So wild. Anyways, I think it looks great. It's definitely in its own component now. It's ready to roll. Um, that button, that is a good looking button. All right, so I don't know. Did we get anywhere on this? I think we did. README. I think it's this README. No, it's this top README. No, it's this README. No, it was the top README. Wrong README. This guy. All right. Set up, but I would say we are definitely done with set up a button to start. Control plus, and we have our check mark. It's very obvious we are done with this one. Set up some default string. Okay, so I think we actually need to add a different thing and set up a results. Yeah, we meant we need a results. Because how would we even like? Well, I guess we could do results later. Does it make sense to do results now? No, I think, yeah, we need a results. We need to set up a results component. 3. And then this is 4, 5, and 6. All right, so next Saturday we will set up a results component, and it may show the results. I don't know what we're going to put in there. I think I don't know that we already have results, do we? Let's look at our service. Let's see. We should have some signals. We have recognition state signal. We have our recognition. Oh, we do have a result signal. So we're already, because I think we actually took this from copied and paste that. So, um, well, I don't know if we're already populating it though. I guess we may not be populating it. Oh, okay. So we are actually populating it from the setup, from the recognition. So, oh yeah, transcripts from event. Oh, on result. Yeah, so on result on this event handler, when it gets this event, it actually does spit out the last result. So, yeah, so we already have that, so we should probably show the result too. So let's go back to our README and show the result. All right, we might not, well, I guess, yeah, who knows? We'll probably end up showing the result, actually, what we got back. So if someone says something, and then we show what got back. Holy cow, my video that I just uploaded for Three.js already has 4 views. That's probably more than most of my videos get. Most of my videos probably get like 3 or 4 views, and that's what they get. Um, it's kind of hard. It's really like one of those things where, like, I think that if you ever decide you're going to be like a what do they call it, content creator, and you're going to build stuff, this is kind of the kind of thing maybe that you could do. Like I think I have like a couple thousand, like over 1,000 videos that I've uploaded, so it gives you like sort of credibility. So like your old results are like your old videos sort of give you like credibility that like you are legit, that you aren't fake. And I don't even know that that was a big deal in the past, but now with so much fake fake stuff out there, like AI is just making just completely fake and wrong, and sometimes even like criminally like like fraudulent things. Anything that kind of just proves that you're actually a real human being is it's pretty useful. And having a couple thousand videos that you put up over 5 years or 6 years kind of helps with that. Um, but anyways, that was good. I think we made really good. It looks a lot better. It works. We're going to the next step will be to probably yeah. Next step will be set up a results component and show the results. So when we hit that, it'll say whatever we say up in there, and then set up a default string to listen to. See, it's kind of funny because as we're moving down, I think this list is just going to keep on growing. I bet you it'll be like 30 items long by the time we get to the end because we keep kind of discovering things as we go. And that is absolutely not scientific, I don't think. I think that's more of like an engineering sort of thing. So, anyways, happy coding, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Bye.